Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn at pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey there, hello there, and welcome to the program. It's a Tuesday, but my sister Susan seems to be standing me up. So, it's just us, I guess. I think we'll make it. Let us know if there are these audio issues that you alerted us to yesterday. The extraordinary issue of me being much quieter than the callers. So they've switched out the computer that we use during the show, and so there have been all kinds of little glitches, things not quite as they were, and I hope you'll bear with us as we make our way through these changes. I was going to ask Susan, but obviously she ain't here, so I'll ask you. Do you ever sit and wonder what the end of this administration is going to be? I'm serious. Like, what? Not when, but how? Is it an electoral defeat? Is it something that happens prior to 2020? Is it impeachment? Is it... I really don't know. Somebody suggested the other day that Melania seems to be setting things up for concern about his health. Little snippets of she is concerned about all these investigations and the impact on his health. And I'm wondering if that's a setup for him to resign. No one can imagine, I think, him resigning, and yet I also think to resign is to leave the security of the White House and head back into the real world where he's going to get arrested. I just can't quite figure how and when. Are there betting? Is there betting in Las Vegas on how this happens and when it happens? I wonder. Because there is no doubt that things are closing in on this nest of viperous thieves. There are the 17 separate investigations currently underway, all involving him, his businesses, his so-called charities, his strange relationship with a hostile foreign state. And I read a piece where somebody said one of the things that is so remarkable about all of this is the sheer amount of unrelated criminality that every single person in this campaign seems to have been involved in. There's so much crime that was taking place during the campaign, the transition, and the administration itself, that the prosecutors, both state prosecutors and Mueller, have just an extraordinary amount of leverage in approaching any potential witness. And that is why, if Trump's health is getting a little shaky, it simply shows that he is, even he, capable of sort of seeing where this might be heading. And that is that it appears that almost everyone else surrounding him is cooperating with investigators and prosecutors, everyone. And what that means is that he and his family are the target. So how I don't know. I'm hoping against hope that the denouement of this is not as cataclysmic as it very well may be. But I think it's quite clear that it is Donald Trump in the crosshairs ultimately. And the higher up, the Flynns, the Manaforts, the Cohens, the higher up the people who flip, the National Enquirer head, his long-term money guy, Weisselberg or whatever his name is. These are people who know. And I just don't see how he's not going down. I just wonder how it comes about. And then I wonder, does Mike Pence survive? So do we end up, good God, with him? Or does, hear our prayer, or does he too get tangled up enough? My audio is very low, I'm being told. Thank you. Any feedback you can give us, that is good. Okay. And I'm being told Susan is here. Hi, Suze.
Hi. Sorry, I looked at the clock and I went, oh, gosh, it's late. I have a house full of people, you know.
No, I didn't know, but I'm glad.
Oh, I have your niece Eva from London here.
Oh, how wonderful.
And I have your nephew Hank from UC Berkeley here, and I have their mother Kathy and our mother Babu here.
You are kidding me.
No.
Oh, I feel so left out. Are you having a good time?
Yeah, but that's why I forgot to call. Sorry.
That's okay. That's a real good excuse. Well, I'll be seeing all of those folks except you and Mom at Christmas, because I'll
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
That's great. Oh man, a far-flung family, but we get together when we can. Yeah, fantastic, Suze. So
yeah, it was nice. So I apologize.
It's okay.
For blowing you off, but I did eventually remember you.
Okay. I was asking a question that I've been wondering about, and that is how this ends. How does Trump leave the White House? Does he suffer electoral defeat? Does he resign?
Spontaneously combust and leave a green goo dripping down the Oval Office?
That'd be
I don't know. I don't know how he gets out. I'm still terrified that he gets out calling for a revolt and leaving this country in a civil war.
Well, I think he's already sort of signaled that.
He's already said it.
Yeah.
And I had been mumbling, darkly about this for months. And then I listened to him say, if they try and impeach me, my people will revolt.
Will revolt.
That was an exact quote, and fear struck in my heart because I know when I'm speaking hyperbole, and then I wasn't.
Yeah. Well, I noted that he said that too, and I'll tell you, if that were to happen, guess what? Our side will have.
Oh, our side will win because
we have the entire
side,
force of the law, of the military, of whatever. We can squash these jerks pretty quickly.
Yeah, and then we could confiscate their guns. That would be good. I don't know how we get him out, but I think this whole thing is about to come tumbling down, and there are enough people now that are, with what this federal judge did with the ACA, when you have conservatives saying, we don't like it, but there is a rule of law. There is a way that these things are done, and, that was just, that's a decision that's just, probably made by somebody who doesn't know anything about law and was appointed by Trump.
No, actually was appointed by George W. He was appointed.
Well, he's not allowed to do that. The remedy is to take out the piece that is unconstitutional, if that's the way you feel, and let the rest of duly passed legislation exist.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that this is going to stand, but then again, who the hell knows? None of us know anything anymore. But there is little doubt that the noose is tightening around this mob enterprise known as the Trump family.
Let me give you a little feedback on how you're sounding to me. You do not sound the same way to me that you usually sound. You sound like you're on, for example, a speakerphone and are at the other end of the room. It's a totally different sound quality than usual.
Yeah. We know we're having audio issues.
Yeah, okay. Just so you know. I mean, I can hear you. I'm just...
Yeah, our audio's fucked. They took our fucking computer! Fuckheads.
They took your computer?
Yeah. They decided our computer was too good for us, so they took it and gave it to somebody else at the paper. And who very well may need that computer, but then don't fuck with us. They gave us some piece of shit, apparently, that they supposedly downloaded everything they're supposed to have on it, and nothing's been the same since. Callers sound louder than me. Now I sound like I'm talking from across the room. My audio's... I don't know. I'm sorry. A little bit of a... So.
No, I'm sorry, too. But on a bright side, this is the worst December economically since 1931.
It's not a bright side if you're looking at your 401k, I'll tell you that, man.
Well, you know something? I was feeling, I know that this is a stupid way to feel in the general scheme of things, but I was just feeling like all of the gains that my 401k had made in this year were ill-gotten. Like I didn't want to benefit from this asshole being in,
But it's you know what? But more than what you made this year is gone. I mean, this is looking...
Oh, I know. No, if we keep it up, I'll only be as good as I was when Obama took office, which was better than I'd ever been before.
Okay, but so you're going to wipe out 8 years?
Yeah. No. I'm willing to wipe out 2.
Oh. Well, what you're willing to do and what happens are 2 different things.
No, I'm just saying I'm not going to feel bad until he starts taking the gains that I made under Obama.
What the Wall Street Journal says is that normally in these kinds of markets, when there's this kind of a plummet, people start jumping in and buying, right? That isn't, it says right here, it isn't happening.
No, because they don't
know where the bottom is.
No, well, here's what really aggravates me. The market forces that thought Trump was such a good idea for all this time, who the hell were those market forces, I'd like to know, because some of us knew all along that he was a charlatan and weren't really happy with betting our money on him. And now those same market forces are all in a panic because suddenly they understand that he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and with every little tweet he roils the world markets,
right.
and now
and his trade wars.
He's created like a sine wave that there's no stopping. It's exactly
right.
what it looks like, up and down every daily, up and down, up and down, up and down, and now it's got a life of its own.
By the way, sorry, I don't disagree. On the audio, just for my producer's note, I'm getting some people saying the audio on my end is just fine. It's better than yesterday. Milton says both your audio and Susan's are fine here.
Okay, good.
So, Susan, I don't know what the thing between me and you
Well,
is.
you just sound like you're talking to me on a tin can connected by a string.
What? That's not good. That shouldn't
No,
be.
it has that tinny quality to it,
okay,
if you know me.
Okay. Also, Jonathan says, hey, you and Susan sound great. Equal volume, fine. Jonathan says, by the way, I wonder if Pence will go down before Trump. Agnew went before Nixon. Becoming clearer all along.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I would love to see Pence go down. Then we'd have President Pelosi.
I mean, that
wouldn't that just froth there? You know what?
That is where I dare to hope that this is that when I say the end game, that this is where it comes. This is what happens. That we don't have to wait till 2020. Somehow this is going to come crashing down. Pence with it. And we have Nancy Pelosi.
Well, at this point, Pence has to know, or should have known, every single bit of illegality that has been swarming around him, and as far as I'm concerned, is as guilty of all of it as any of them. And I really, my hope is that after all of those times of listening to the chants of lock her up, we end up locking up every last one of them.
Yeah. Well,
did you see the little thing there's a little thing going around the internet with fashion ankle bracelets attached to Ivanka's shoe line?
Oh. I love it. I love it.
I love the American spirit.
Yeah. Well, you know, Pence was Manafort's choice. Manafort is the one that tapped Pence. Also,
well, there's a fine recommendation for you.
There you go. And Pence and Flynn are, conjoined a little bit here. Who knows? Somebody's going to have to figure it all out.
Well, somebody's going to have to say something that brings him in.
Yeah.
And I hope they do. I hope that this is a crowd of folks that when they see themselves falling say, well, fuck this, I'm not going to go alone. You're all coming with me.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to do that. And let's get them all out of there.
Milton writes.
God, wouldn't it be fun?
Milton writes, the more I read in the comment sections of news outlets, the more I worry about Trump's possible premature departure. It seems that this is an example of one of the few times in American history when white males will have to decide whether to face reality and admit that they made a mistake in their support of Trump or civil war. White men never.
Yeah.
Wait, Milt, who's not a white man, goes on to say, white men never admit they are wrong. I really fear that many will choose to take up arms rather than admit that they threw in with this mountebank.
Well, I'm gonna, in defense of white men, which I have to say, it's a rarity with me. I have to say that my husband would admit when he was wrong. It was I that would not.
Well, but he's not talking on an individual level, but in general, the privileged, the powerful, that's white men.
Well, no, they don't have to.
They
They
don't
just
have
have
to
to deflect and wait for it to pass.
Right. Exactly right. Oh, God. So,
my only is that precisely because we, as the evolved country we are so horrified at the thought of being led by a woman that they won't let that happen, because even Pence is better than having any woman as our president. And I really feel that that's the attitude of this country, that we are so far away from having a woman president because there is an underlying basic acceptance, even among women here, of our cultural misogyny.
Jesus, even Pakistan has had a woman head. India has had female head. So who? It's just what, us and the Russians? I mean, what? Jesus. Oh, Lord. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that shit. Just a second.
I don't know, but all I want for Christmas is a White House clean out. That would just be so nice.
Well, it ain't going to happen for maybe next Christmas. I don't know.
Oh, no, we've got to wait. I think Mueller is very carefully waiting until the Democratic Congress is seated to release the final report.
Well, yeah, and it might even be beyond that. Who the hell knows?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, I don't think he's on any timetable that we're thinking of. He's on the timetable that says, when I am finished, that's when I'm finished.
Yeah. Gee whiz. Okay, Susan, let's get off this heavy stuff just for a second.
Okay.
And have you? I've been avoiding this issue, but I'm curious about your take on it. The baby, it's cold outside kerfuffle.
I have purposefully not re-listened to the song. I have purposefully not, instinctually I'm on go jump in the lake feeling about it. And now I've read, I've seen people say, well, it's not the song per se, it's more the scene in the movie. And I'm going, well, I'm sure as hell not going to watch the movie. I don't like any Christmas songs. I think they're all an abomination, except for the very pretty ones that they sing in church and I'm no longer going to say holly day. I'm going to say holy day. On the holy day, I love the beautiful songs that they sing. The holiday songs drive me nuts, every single last one of them, because you can't tell me that any of them are about anything good. They're about give me stuff. They're about buy stuff.
Some are about family getting together. Susan?
Yeah, I'm very humbuggy
that's
about
why
this.
it's the holiday season, and there you are with your happy, with your family there. I just Googled the lyrics because I didn't know what they are.
Somebody's trying to leave, and somebody is coaxing them to stay.
The woman says, I really can't stay. He says, but baby, it's cold outside. I've got to go away, but baby, it's cold outside. This evening has been hoping you'd drop in. So very nice. I'll hold your hands. They're just like ice. My mother will start to worry. Beautiful, what's your hurry? My father will be pacing the floor. Listen to the fireplace roar. So really, I'd better scurry. Beautiful, please don't hurry. But maybe just half a drink more. Put some records on while I pour. Now, right there, I'm just going to say, she then says, maybe just half a drink more. That was her. Okay?
Yeah.
She's already thinking, well, you know what? Then she says, the neighbors might think, baby, it's bad out there. Say, what's in that drink? No cabs to be had out there. Everybody's focusing on so what's in that drink.
Because he put a date rape drug.
They didn't have date rape drugs, did they? I mean, this is 1940 something, isn't it? What is this?
You know, there is such a thing as honest-to-God wooing.
Yes, and little flirtation and back and forth.
Screw this.
Okay, so and then she says, I wish I knew how, your eyes are like starlight now, to break this spell. I'll take your hat, your hair looks swell. So he never even lets her finish a sentence, so they're just going back and forth, and she's liking it. She's saying, I wish I knew how to break this spell. I ought to say no, 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 sir. Mind if I move in closer, he says. At least I'm going to say that I tried. What's the sense in hurting my pride, he says. I really can't stay. Oh, baby, he says, don't hold out. But baby, and then she says, but baby, it's cold outside. I simply must go, she says, but baby, it's cold outside. The answer is no, but baby, oh, God, they just go on and, oh my God. Susan, it goes on forever. Okay, it's awfully cute. I mean, there's cute lyrics. Wait, you're welcome.
There is such a thing as people actually being mutually attracted to each other.
Yeah.
And playing a little flirtatious game with each other. Yeah. And everybody should stand
Shut the
down.
F up. Yeah, right. So I'm going to go on. She says, your welcome has been, and can you tell I'm lowering my voice for him? Your welcome has been, how lucky that you dropped in, so nice and warm. Look out the window at this dawn. My sister will be suspicious. Gosh, your lips look delicious. My brother will be there at the door. Waves upon the tropical shore. My maiden aunt's mind is vicious. But maybe just a cigarette more. I'm just going to do her lines.
Well, that's a reason to get rid of the song.
Yeah, cigarettes. You got that right.
It was a hidden advertisement for the tobacco industry all along.
And I'll just do her lines. I've got to get home. Say, lend me a coat. You've really been grand, but don't you see, there's bound to be talk tomorrow. At least there will be plenty implied. I really can't stay. So this is all about a woman wanting to stay, as far as I can tell, but worried about her maiden aunt, the neighbors talking, blah, blah, blah. Yeah?
Yes, because she lived in a time that had she stayed, she would have been a harlot. It had nothing to do with
her
him
desire.
Forcing himself on her. It had to do with them both wanting to stay, and she really couldn't.
What a bunch of fucking bullshit.
Well, it just is. It serves to cheapen the reality of what we're really talking about. You know, just like the allegations of Me Too by women, you know, who had a bad date.
Yeah, exactly.
In essence.
Yeah, right.
That bothers me.
Right.
You know, let's not fool around with this. We're talking about real sexual violence in that movement. We're talking about real societal and consequences to what was done to women in a really violent
This strikes me as just playful banter. Excuse me.
Which is allowed.
I hope so. I don't want to live in these worlds. And again, I don't care if it's coming from the right or from the left, where everything I do is subject to, you know, some kind of a court of public opinion, you know, put atop some kind of a, here's what you do in this situation, here's what you don't do. If I wanted to live like that with somebody making all the judgments for me, you know, I could be an Orthodox Jew, right, and just go to the Rebbe. Jesus.
Where you'd probably be assaulted. Excuse me.
Susan.
I don't like any of these closed religious because they've all been rather bad in that regard. The Jews know better than the priests, and I would like that put right out there.
Aaron writes, I wish there was a little F-bomb counter in the bottom of the screen for both you and Susan to see who wins. I'd win.
Well, fuck that.
I'd win. Hands fucking down.
I'm not so sure.
Oh.
We're sorry. It's this time of year when Lynn and Susan tend to catch.
So Barbara has sent me. So we must be laughing too much. So because Barbara has sent me something that's you can't laugh at. But oh God, I can't take much more of this. Okay, a black Ohio man said bank tellers refused to cash a paycheck for him, and then called 911 on him because they were suspicious that he earned so much.
Every time I hear one of these things, I am physically ill.
This was a Huntington bank. I'm sitting here right above a Huntington bank. This is a Huntington bank in the Cleveland suburb of Brooklyn. The paycheck was for a little more than $1,000. And the guy, Paul McCown's, said he showed the teller 2 forms of identification and a fingerprint as required for non-Huntington customers. But bank employees started looking at a computer screen and questioning the transaction and ultimately refused to cash it. Without speaking to his employer, they tried to call my employer. He never picked up the phone. He left the bank, but employees called 911 and a police squad car pulled in front of his truck before he could drive away. A teller told the
they didn't arrest.
He's trying to cash a check, and the check is fraudulent. It does not match. The teller admits McCowan did not know police had been called. Officers handcuffed him, placed him in the back of a police cruiser. Minutes later, police contacted the employer and confirmed that he worked there and that was his fucking paycheck.
And then what ensued? Anybody apologize? Anybody get fired? He should sue him.
We sincerely apologize to Mr. McCown's for this extremely unfortunate event, the bank said. We accept responsibility for contacting the police as well as our own interactions with him. They're trying to avoid a lawsuit. Anyone who walks in...
He should sue them. He suffered real damage. He should sue them. Individually and severally, he should sue them. This has to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This shows, though, how endemic racism is in our country. It's just beyond, it's not like black people aren't freaking out at these stories as much as white people are, because we didn't know how unbelievable, how horrible what they have to endure. You can elect a black president twice. That doesn't change anything on the ground, as they say.
But I'm here to tell you, white people are not getting it, and I will use the incident of those boys at Baraboo giving the Nazi salute. God. And shortly after that, there was a picture of of the school district that I was head of the president of the board of in St. Louis, had a picture of a white kid with his arm around a guy that is really his friend, a black kid, but he was making the OK symbol, which either is or isn't a white nationalist, who knows. And who knows his intent. But the people in St. Louis were so up in arms that this made the news and people speaking up for this white kid, and then they throw in the Baraboo incident as if it's one and the same. And these are all white people discussing how this is just no big deal. And we all need to get over it. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're one of 3 black people in Baraboo, and you're one of 8 black kids in Baraboo, and you're in 8 Jewish kids in Baraboo, and you are the sum total of minority kids in your high school, and they're all throwing up Nazi salutes. It might not be a big deal to you, the majority, but those marginalized students have to walk down those halls every day and wonder when someone's just going to sucker punch them or trip them or do something. It's not a pleasant way to live, and it's not nothing. And it is amazing to me that the majority steadfastly stands its ground on get over it.
Yeah. Kristen writes, apparently saying what's in this drink was a running joke in the 40s. I always thought the song was cute. I think that people forget when it was actually written. My God.
I think that
okay.
Heaven forbid you should flirt with someone that you are sexually attracted to, and they should flirt back. Someone's going to call the cops. You'll end up like the guy trying to cash his own paycheck, for crying out loud. It's just
unbelievable.
Awful.
Okay.
What else do you have to rile me up, Lynn?
Okay.
This is fun.
I want to go back. That wasn't me who riled you up. That was Barbara. We were laughing. And then I said, Barbara doesn't want us to laugh anymore. That's what I said.
Okay, how'd I do, Barbara? I gave you one good rant.
Barbara, I'm throwing you under the bus, okay? Okay, I want to go back to Christmas song lyrics because, Susan, there was a tweet from a minister, a woman, who said this, and I thought, oh, wow. She said it's possibly her favorite line in all of Christmas carols. And it's one that, it's a actual religious one, and it is amazing.
So I'm going to guess it's not "Oh Holy Night, the Stars Are Shining Brightly."
I think it might be that song. Hang on, though. Here is the snippet, and it is beautiful. And I think, before I say it, when I read it, I thought it's how I feel about Mueller closing in on Trump. Okay? Imagine this as Mueller.
It's about anticipation. Okay.
Okay, here it is. A thrill of hope. The weary world rejoices. Yeah? A thrill of hope.
Of hope. It is the same song.
Isn't that a great line? A thrill of hope. The weary world rejoices. Is that not the perfect
isn't
line?
That cute? We share the same favorite. I mean, there's a reason I love those beautiful songs that as a little girl, I used to go to church with friends on Christmas and just sit there and drink in the music.
Fall on your knees.
I always like Gloria in Excelsis Deo.
Oh, hear the angel voices. A thrill of hope. I love that. A thrill of hope. The weary world rejoices. That should be the headline the day they carry Trump out of the White House.
Yeah.
Just saying. Oh. Okay, what else we got here?
You would think they would be like taking so much anti-diarrhea medicine, that whole family at this point. Do they really think they aren't all going to jail?
I don't know.
And that they're ever gonna have any semblance of life. I think they're going to spend the rest, even if they don't. If you walked by one of them on the street, wouldn't you compose your face in the most sneering look of disgust as you could as you walked by them?
Yeah. I mean, they are, yeah. It's over for
them. In perpetuity, wouldn't they be scorned and ugh? I mean, they richly deserve it.
Oh. Yep. Okay, so the New York Times today, Susan, said that some of our favorite holiday movies were panned when they initially came out. And my favorite one is, and I know it's trite, is, and I can still watch it, and I still love it, and I probably watched it 7,000 times.
It's a Wonderful World. It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah. Well,
I love that movie.
Clarence and Jimmy Stewart together are just, there's no way you can watch that. I mean, there's parts of it that I can skip, but I mean, the parts where you're just sitting in front of the TV sobbing.
Oh, my God. But critics hated it. Nobody liked it. It did not, I got to tell you. It said a ho-hum reception. They didn't hate it, but it didn't do well. And here's the New York Times reviewer. And you can't say that this is wrong, but he didn't like it. And he said the weakness of this picture is the sentimentality of it. But that's what we love. It's why we cry through it. Susan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, no, you're being distracted.
I am being distracted.
Will you tell family members to leave you alone? You're on the radio or something.
I'm supposed to yell down, I can't talk, I'm on the radio.
Was that Hank?
Yeah.
I can tell Hank to shut up and leave you alone. We only got 20 minutes left. Okay, another everybody favorite is, and this was first came out in 1983, is A Christmas Story. Do you know that one, Suze? That's the one.
I do.
That's the one where the kid, gets his tongue stuck on the. That's the one.
Right.
That's the one. All he wants is a Red Ryder carbine action 200-shot range model air rifle. All I want. I mean, I love that movie. Don't you?
Well, you are more of an old movie buff than I.
Yeah,
But I mean, you sit for hours watching old movies.
I do.
I do not necessarily.
I think I watched 3 yesterday. I can watch bad old movies. I'm just wowed by them.
Well, it's not hard to understand why, because it sure is hard to find a decent one these days.
Well, let me tell
unless you're into animation.
Well, right, but let me tell you something. I watched the one that's getting all these rave reviews, and I'm always so nervous about rave reviews now because I finally see the thing and I'm underwhelmed. But This one called Roma, you heard of it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's and I think most people really wouldn't like it. It starts really slowly. It's atmospheric. It's black and white. And I think it is one powerful movie. I'm going to watch it again. And what I love about it, it's right there in your home. It's on Netflix. It's where it is.
All right. Well, Mom and I will. I'm looking forward to California because I've been saving a bunch of stuff to watch with her.
Here's one, Mom, and you can watch Susan from Netflix too. Is called, I think it's called Dumpling. And
yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Do you know it? Because that's just fun. But it's who is that? Jennifer Aniston and
yeah.
Well, it's cute and nice and stuff. And what else have I seen?
Well, there's actually movies out that I do want to see. I mean, I do want to see Mary Queen of Scots. I do want to see The Favorite, which my daughter saw and said is weird, which I thought was unexpected. She says it does time changing, that's a little weird, or it has reflections of modernity in it that she didn't expect. But she also warned me about about seeing it with Babu.
Oh, really? Because there's a lot of sexual activity.
She said it's not. She said it's all about sex, and I said, well, of course, it's the thing about the courts. What do you think they did in the courts? And I said, and by the way, your grandmother knows all about sex. I'll have no problem going.
No, she doesn't get freaked out by sex.
No.
Oh, been there, done that. Jeez.
You're right.
But the one I like that people always say, well, I bet I heard it wasn't, politically correct or something, is what is it? The Green Book. Green Book.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a good movie. It's about a black pianist and a white guy who he hires.
Oh, and his white driver.
Yeah.
His white driver. I've heard it's a really good movie, too.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. You laugh. You cry. You feel tension and anger. It runs the whole gamut of emotions, and and it's a good movie because it ends up, with a happy ending, and you feel good. You don't always walk out of movies these days feeling good, having cried and laughed, and anytime a movie does that for me, I'm in. So, Mom and you would love that. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Roma's harder. It's atmospheric, and it's about Mexico in the 70s, which was brutal. I mean, it's when the haves and the have-nots, and the repressive government shooting students in the streets and stuff like that. But it just centers on
this. It's sort of like Now, you mean, here.
Well, not quite. But in terms of haves and have-nots, yeah. And, yeah.
And believe me, there's plenty of folks getting shot in the streets.
Right. Hey. Okay. Well, there was that.
That's okay. We managed to be cheery for 10 minutes, and then one of us said something grumpy.
Who said something grumpy? You did.
Me.
I know. Well, as long as you've gotten us back in the grump era. Wait. I got some emails. Barbara apparently isn't mad at me for throwing her under the bus before. She says, what does Susan think? Well, she might not even know about it. Susan, do you know that the great education secretary, Betsy DeVos, now are going to, they want to throw out all of the Obama-era efforts to reduce discrimination in school discipline, which, of course, means...
Oh, well, what do I think?
Like you're shocked?
I would be appalled, and I'll tell you something else. I would be very surprised if any school district rolled back protections that it had in place. They can not mandate it anymore, but it ain't going to happen. Because every school district that is worth its salt and cares in the first place has been looking at the disparity in those numbers for a very long time. I mean, I was on a board in the last century, and we were looking at those issues very seriously. There's no way. She can roll back anything she wants. Human beings are better than Betsy DeVos. That's what I think.
Okay, I'm agreeing. I hope you're right about it not being. Oh, anyway, Jonathan says.
Well, there are some places that will be terrible about it, absolutely, but they weren't complying with those standards in the first place.
Okay, what are you eating?
I'm something got stuffed in my It was something to keep me from choking. Sorry.
Something to keep you from choking. Excuse me. I'm spitting. Yeah. Okay. Jonathan says, Jonathan, if anyone wants to know, and you love Wonderful Life, there is a show tonight in a theater, Regent Square Theater, folks, in Regent Square, at 7 tonight and tomorrow, and it's free admission, but they want you to bring some non-perishable items. It is, they're raising money for what? I assume the food bank or something. But so bring a few cans and go over to the Regent Square and buy some popcorn and cry all the way through. Geez, I might do that. 7 tonight and 7 tomorrow night. It's a Wonderful Life. And
yeah, you can have a good communal cry.
Sounds good. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good thing. Okay. Oh, yeah, and somebody is, Nikolai is reminding me of this extraordinary World War I documentary. I don't know if I talked about this when I first read about it, but what's his name? Is it
But
Pete?
It's only playing for like 30 seconds, right?
No. What do you mean?
Oh, I thought it was just, no, I mean, I think it's like out for like 2 days and then it disappears or something.
I don't know why you're saying that. It's called They Shall Not Grow Old, I think.
I hope it's true. It's the documentary. He's colorized it. He's brought it. It's supposed to be spectacular. I'm sorry. That's a word I promised 30 years ago never to say on the show again. There it popped up.
What'd you say? What was the word?
I said something was spectacular.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you've pretty much cleaned that out of your vocabulary, which I really appreciate. Thank you very much. What have you replaced it with? Stupendous?
No, a variety of things. I tried to be more thoughtful about my adjectives.
Well, this thing, right, called...
Seeing that I'd upset your adjectival senses.
We all do that, though. I hear myself, saying the same things over and over again. So this is a documentary, and it's, I don't know how long it is, but it's put together by Peter Jackson, the director,
mm-hmm.
who spent unbelievable amounts of energy and time. They took this old black and white archival footage of World War I soldiers, British soldiers. And you know how it's jumpy because it was hand-cranked video cameras, black and white and all messed up. And they spent, I don't know how much time, frame by frame, cleaning this stuff up, and then figured out how to run it in real time. Then they colorized it, went to historians to find out exactly the colors of every button and emblem and medal somebody might have been wearing or whatever. So they took the original footage and they made this World War I real video come to life. And anybody who's seen it is saying that it is just extraordinary. The little bits I've seen, it's extraordinary. I mean, these people are, wow. Every single man in it is dead, and yet they are so alive. And I don't know, is that up for Best Documentary? I guess it should be. There goes Mr. Rogers' Oscar. So there it is. They hired forensic, what are they called? Essentially lip readers. People who cops use a lot now because things are on video, right? Video cameras, security cameras. They have people now who can tell what somebody's saying. They say, well, that guy just said this guy just said that. And so they went through this footage and actually have recreated the conversations that were happening or what people were saying. And then they went out of their way to actually ensure that if the guys they were looking at were from a certain regiment, which was from a certain area in England, that the accent was right. That is the meticulousness that went into this. They shall not grow old. I think it'll be just extraordinarily powerful. So, I'm just saying.
Well, there's a lot to look forward to. It's better than the last few years when, honestly, there wasn't anything I could think of that I even wanted to see.
Yeah. Milton says, please tell Susan to watch Mrs. Maisel. As opposed
I will. I'm saving it. Mother and I will binge watch it as soon as we get to our winter haunt in California, at which time I'm going to have to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to talk to you all.
Well, not quite. Not quite. You'll have to get up at what? At 6.
Well, I'll be talking to you at 7 a.m. my time.
Well, that's no big deal. I get up by 7.
Well, it is if you have an animal that expects to go for a long walk before you're left alone long enough to do that. And if one
okay, so you get up at
likes
6:15.
to read the newspapers and stuff, so I know what her sister's going to talk about.
No, but you see, Sue, you can do the newspapers the night before. Because
at night. I know. I do. I do them the night before.
Okay. So Milton says, tell Susan to watch Maisel as opposed to that sappy dumpling movie. It is sappy. It is, but Milton.
Did you watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
No.
Or Maisel?
Is that how it's pronounced, Maisel?
Watch season 1. It's a very good binge and perfectly entertaining and smart, and one of the few movies about comedy where they actually give the comedian funny lines.
I've seen parts of it. I mean, I've seen, and I think it was with you in Palm Springs. I think I saw some of it. I've seen the first, I've seen when her and her husband leaves her or whatever happens there, and then how she takes the stage in that place. I've seen the characters a little bit, but I haven't then seen her. Okay. Anyway, Milton says, Dumplin' is predictable and suffers from an awkward and cumbersome screenplay, but it is cute and light. That's all I want now. Cute.
Right.
Light.
Honestly, for the first time in my life, I have you ever watched one of the Perfect Pitch movies? I watched Perfect Pitch, the first one. There was nothing available, and I thought, I'll watch it. And, it was perfectly lousy. But I sort of enjoyed myself.
Yeah. Here's what I don't get, and I know I've said this, but during the Depression, Hollywood put out happy movies, feel-good movies, because people are depressed. Well, I got news for you. We're depressed again, Hollywood, and we don't need all of this fucking horrible movies that make you miserable. Life is making us miserable. Your job, Hollywood, is to bring us light and hope and cuteness. Seriously. You want to make a lot of money? That's what you want to do. And it doesn't have to be dumb. Anyway, Milton says...
Also binge watch Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That's exactly... it makes light of a woman's struggle with infidelity and trying to be her own woman in the 50s. Cute as could be.
Well, I mean, I can tell it's good because, it's just cleaning up every award and will again. So...
Well, and it has our Green Bay classmate, Tony Shalhoub, in it, and he's good.
I know. He's always good. So,
and the joke is, of course, he was a year behind me in high school, and did I even know he existed? I said, really? And I went to my yearbook, and there was Tony.
He was a year behind you? So he was there when I was...
Yeah, well, in our day and age, he was a year behind me, so girls my age were not allowed to notice that little boys a year
why
younger
would you
than
notice
us
him? He
even
would have been
existed.
You wouldn't have noticed him. He'd be a funny-looking little kid. You wouldn't have noticed him.
I didn't notice him.
Oh. And I never... Because if he was a year behind you, he was not anywhere around.
He was not even there when you were there. No, and I was one of the popular good girls, so I certainly wouldn't have recognized him. That's the part of my life I can remember. The only thing I'm proud of in that part of my life is that I knew I wanted to go to a school at which nobody knew me for within 500 miles, so I could shed that disgusting little girl and become someone worthwhile. That was my stated goal in college.
Mm-hmm. I just went off in a daze. All right, Susan, we've done it again. We've filled an hour and then some.
Well, not me. I managed to cut it to 50 minutes. Sorry.
Okay, give my love to everybody, and
I will. I'll never do that again. I apologize. I've never forgotten you before.
I know,
dear
and you
sister.
specifically told me.
Apologize.
I used to write you a little text saying, "You're on tomorrow, right?" And then finally you said, "I don't need to be reminded."
Well, oops. Okay, have a wonderful week.
I will, Sue.
Have a wonderful life.
Yes, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And so, you guys, tomorrow, see what happens. Bye.
Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, Talk Radio. Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.